Alright everyone, it's that time again. It's been like 3 months since we did one of these. This is my patch review for the whole under surveillance event, which is going on with like the rest of the content, which... Yeah, going into this video, I'm gonna yap a lot and I'm gonna rant a lot because unfortunately there's a lot in this update that's kinda oof. And I know people get triggered by that because they don't understand that if I'm talking about shit like that, I'm like giving constructive criticism and they think that I'm crying or whatever. So here's your fair warning. Let's go over the content real quick because of most of this video is gonna be about stuff that is not in the patch notes. So we have the new event with a new variator, which is the surveillance cameras, which seems pretty cool. It's not the strongest variator, and the cameras can be disabled by everything permanently, like stun, jammer, throwable, similar to the other cameras. So this does not seem that insane, but it's a cute boss variator, and I enjoy it. It actually made the Trials environment a lot more interesting in a sense that you have to stealth around a lot more, especially if you want to get a good report for the end, because getting detected by the cameras, even if they don't damage you, also go negative on your grade, which is really good. With that comes stash the contraband and kidnap the mistress. I'm probably gonna do my Trials tier list at some point soon. Both of these are S tier. Like, both of these are really fucking good MKs. This one for the dogs, that one for downtown. Not to get too much into it, because I really want you, if you haven't played them yet, to experience them for yourself. This one is incredibly hard. Like, I find that one incredibly hard. And that one, from a concept, it's very unique, just to throw spitball it without spoiling it. This is actually a detective-based MK, and I can already see people making the argument that this is better of a core concept design than the main trial, which I still like Pleasure the Prosecutor a lot. Like, it's grown to be my favorite main trial. But yeah, I can definitely see people saying that this one is like more of a unique concept with like a whole detective-based MK. It's really good concept. Besides that, obviously we have the catalog. We have a 11th page, similar to the one for Project Lupar. We got a one with more reskins, as well as the Amelia catalog, which has some cool stuff in it. I especially like this skin, which is obviously really nice, and the emotes that are like that, these are kind of my highlights personally, but they're really solid catalog. Like, legitimately, this is like really solid cosmetic stuff. Also, besides that, they changed 3 wigs. They changed jammer. That jammer affects the mannequin gates. These are the gates that you have on Cleanse the Orphans and on one of the new MKs, where like the mannequins go through and they have to wait until like they pass through. The jammer can now affect them. Barricade also now makes it so you can block windows, which a lot of people suggested. Cool change. Won't make barricade insane at all, but it's a really nice change. And they also decreased the deploy time for blind, which I think is unnecessary. I think it's like good for the people that are bitching, oh my god, I can't place a blind right in front of an enemy. Like, it's good for those people, but blind is always supposed to be strategic, so this is kind of a nothing change. I would have preferred if they changed blind in another way, like, I don't know, have it so you can have 2 blinds up at the same time or something like that. Like just spitballing here, if we were gonna do a blind change, but whatever. Whatever. Is there any feature I missed actually? Let me check the patch notes before we go into the stuff that is not mentioned in the patch notes. So yeah, we have yeah, I think I mentioned every content thing. Like, psychosurgery got buffed a little bit. that enemies are faster, which is very noticeable. But yeah, let's talk about everything that is not mentioned in the patch notes. And it's actually a workload. Like, I just finished the stream. And we were rambling and finding out shit a lot. Like, we were playtesting a lot of bugs and new changes that people found on the hour. Once we found out about something weird, next thing got found out, and so on and so forth. It was a chain reaction. So, actually the last thing in the patch note that got mentioned, which I wanna mention real quick, which is a very baffling change, since we're now talking about the negatives, is Stick Together got removed out of escalation, which... why? Literally why? They already nerfed escalation a shitload at the beginning of season 2. They nerfed like escalation hardcore, which I made a video on that, and people thought, oh my god, you're crying all the time, even though I'm just giving my criticism to the changes, and they don't realize that I'm just passionate about the game, and the changes to escalation wouldn't even affect them as casual players, because it would only start at like the old ultra cap at 35, yada yada yada. But now they also took away Stay Together from the escalation pool, which is just... I'm just saying, the 100 escalation video drops this weekend. And it's gonna highlight so much of the stuff that we will miss right now from escalation. And it just amplifies why we should not go for a 100 streak anytime soon. Because holy shit, it's a watered down experience. That being said though, now let's talk about all the bugs and weird shit. So... I called it the bunny, or if you want to be informal, the Bnui meta. Like the Bnui meta right here. They did a bunch of changes to stamina and sound. Let me run through how sound used to work to start off. If you were jumping like this, you would make 0 noise until you land on the ground like this. It would do 3 bars of noise for a split second. Normally enemies wouldn't really detect that normally, unless they're enraged, because then the sound tolerance is very low. That is what made enraged enemies insane. Same thing goes for that long jump. If you do the long jump, like this, it would create no noise until you land on your feet. Then it would also create 3 bars of noise for a split second. They completely changed that. Now if you run like this and like do the far jump, you do 2 bars of consecutive noise constantly instead of just for a split second. So this versus normal running makes no sound difference now. So one thing that you probably saw a lot of people when they tried to stealth around trials do, like this thing right here, is not worth it anymore. This one is not worth it anymore. I think that change is fine-ish. Like for it needs an adjustment period, but if it's intended, which apparently it is, like we had a whole thing going where someone in the chat or during the stream was like reporting, as he was like reporting the shit to like the service of Red Barrels, got like answers. Like apparently the sound changes are all intended, just as a heads up. So if that's intended, okay, fine. Also I'm lagging, that's pretty funny. Now for crouching. Crouching makes 0 noise anymore. You can move around like this. And it makes 0 noise. Previously it did a little bit of noise. So for example with enraged enemies, you do this, you get detected and slapped. Now you can move around like this freely without noise. There's no point in running incognito anymore, because you can just move around like this. But wait, Kotz, what about stamina? Like jumping like this consumes stamina, right? They got rid of the stamina stagger. You remember when they introduced like the stamina stagger, where if you're exhausted and you want to jump, you stagger on your feet? They got rid of that for some reason. So now you can do this indefinitely. Yes, you heard that right. You can do this indefinitely. It makes no noise because they got rid of the split 3 bar noise, whatever. And you can do this indefinitely. Even if you're exhausted, you can do this indefinitely. So this is what I meant by Benui meta, because you're just a bunny hopping around the trials. Now, if you're getting chased, it's a bit of a different story, because you still need to be careful of getting grabbed and shit like that. But like for stealthing around, this is very effective. Keep in mind too that they also got rid of the heavy object cooldown. If you don't know, if you have a heavy object, for example a head from like Tilt Scales for example, you want to jump to also detect noise, you would have a cooldown like this. Like there's a bit of a delay until you can jump again. They got rid of that. So now you can also hop around with heavy objects like this. Again with essentially no stamina, because they got rid of the stagger, so you can just keep doing like this. And again, without noise. Tilt Scales is a really good example, because you have these heavy objects, you can jump around, and the sound gates don't even move an inch if you move like this. Because again, jumping around like this makes no noise. Now the killer of all of this is if we go towards glass. Because glass started the entire debate. There is a thing where, let's say you have a glass patch right here. Normally you won't jump over like that, right? For some reason right now, glass, if you jump over glass, it makes the exact same noise, which is 3 bars of noise, as if you are running towards glass. So there's literally no difference between jumping over glass and running through glass right now. The only difference being that it doesn't show up in the report. But yeah, that thing, like with the glass, apparently they actually confirmed it's a bug and it's getting fixed, but still watch out. Like jumping over glass actually attracts enemies, because for some reason when you're jumping, it telepathically still makes the exact same noise, which is just fucking stupid. What else is on the bug list? Window tech. Let's talk about window tech. You probably notice you have a window. Where's the washing laundry thing? Window, enemy. You want to vault into the enemy. You know that cheesy trick where you vault into the enemy? They want to combat that, and the pronunciation is on they want to combat that, because they failed. They just hardcore failed. So what happens if you window vault now? Like this? You're getting staggered and stumble towards the ground. Which should mean, technically, oh, this means that, you know, then the enemies can hit you. Wrong. They cannot, because they are like perplexed by you stumbling in an animation, similar to how, you know, when you're getting shot by a door trap, the enemies also just stand there. It's the same thing, so you can just wait out the stumble, and then, I don't know, dodge away or even run away, and the enemies can't hit you for some godforsaken reason. So that's a weird change that was supposed to get rid of a cheese, but what only thing the window thing ends up doing is being annoying, because you stumble now, but it still technically doesn't make any difference. Okay, it does make a difference. I had a case on stream where I tried to test it, and because of the stumble, I fell into a mine. So I guess there are some differences with traps, but yeah. What else is there buggy? Pitcher doesn't spawn. They saw me bully him in that one guide video, so he pitcher cried a lot, and Murkoff said, okay, you're getting on timeout now, maybe for some buffs soon. They took him out of the game. Nah, seriously though, I've not seen him the entire stream and people report the same, so I'm convinced that pitcher is also bugged for some reason. Also talking about bugs, not like the holding back bug, let's pretend this is a corpse where you have to get a key like cancel autopsy. You cannot look behind you doing objectives like this anymore. That's also like a bug. What I'm trying to say here is there's so many changes that are bugs, or maybe intended changes, but they're also not mentioned in the patch notes. to name some positive examples, for example, there are some new variators in Escalation. We had a more pusher variator, like more Frank spawning variator, more Gasman, which was pretty cool. Also, I haven't tested this, but apparently the imposter rework that they were talking about, with imposters doing different things, apparently is already in the game. But why is that not in the patch notes? And that's probably one of the biggest things that is just, yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff in this patch which is just a sour taste. And I hate being this negative Nancy, because again, the content of this, in my opinion, is stellar. Like, both of these MKs are very fucking good. And the event itself is pretty solid. Not like the best thing ever, but it's solid. But like, it's everything else around it where it's kind of falling apart. And I know you can now pull out the data breach excuse, whatever, but I don't want to be that meanie. But some of the stuff, especially when we're talking about Benui meta, like, I literally played an escalation run up until now where it was literally moving around like this. And again, keep in mind, you have unlimited stamina doing this. Like, all the stamina stuff is irrelevant. Like hide and breathe, adrenaline and shit like that, if you use it like that. And it's completely silent. So also no use for incognito. So did someone playtest this? Like, I don't want to be that meanie. And please, Red Barrels, please, like, don't blacklist me if I ask this. But did someone actually playtest this? Because I don't know, there's just very obvious flaws with this. Like, it didn't take long until we found, like, the new way to abuse it. You tried to get rid of one abuse, which was, like, the long jump, which, okay, if they want to get rid of it. But one, you failed horribly getting, like, dealing with window tech, because evidently you wanted to get rid of window tech, so you tried it, but you failed horribly, and you introduced, like, the next cheese. Like, you tried to get rid of one cheese like this, with, like, the noise difference, but you invented a new cheese. So, I don't know what to tell you. This is, like, really fucking weird. And again, the fact that, for example, Escalation has only been nerfed, just, I don't know. I will still play Trials, obviously. I will still make some videos here and there, but I don't know how much I will do until Season 3, which Season 3 has to hit hard. Now, it's still rumored that for Season 3 we get the custom trials, which is like, during the anniversary stream, Rosie, like, hinted at that you can see the game mode and, like, the panel, whatever, and it looked like a blueprint. So probably we got getting custom trials in Season 3, but Jesus Christ, dude. This update, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. Benui meta is pretty funny. And I will probably do an escalation one soon. Trying to go through escalation like this. Like, unironically, I will try that, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that everyone who's like, oh my god, it's a negative Nancy, still sees my point. Like, some of this stuff was not tested, and some of this stuff also needs to change, in my opinion. But yeah, that's about it. I'm sorry that the update video is a bit negative again, but just speaking my mind, just actually giving constructive feedback. That's all I want to do, because I want this game to be better and better, and I'm hyper obsessed with this game at times, so yeah. But yeah. Thank you everyone for watching and listening to my rant, and have a great rest of your day and take care everyone. Bye bye.